Protests are meaningless these days. Seriously, I've been to my share of them and they're fucking pointless. I've been to the capitals of many states for protests and rallies. I've been to Washington, D.C. I've been to Washington, D.C. on multiple occasions. I've marched in the streets holding signs with witty phrases on them. And I've even been interviewed by major media organizations and had my voice heard. And it didn't change a fucking thing. Barney Frank said a while back about gay rights protesters that the only lasting impression they were going to leave on D.C. was on the grass. I agree with him. The homophobic assholes in Congress who support a constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage are still going to be homophobic, small-minded, and soulless bastards regardless of how enthusiastically you wave your placard around or how impassioned your speeches are. People my age look back to the 1960s and anti-war and civil rights movements as being a model for protests today. So we try to make our protests look like they're protests. We march in the streets, we hold our signs and placards, we paint our faces, the whole 9 yards. But it's little more than a Halloween costume and a huge misrepresentation of what the 1960s were actually like. Everybody knows this image of a girl putting a flower down the barrel of a gun. Why was the military there confronting these protesters? Was it that back in the 1960s the government hated free speech so much that they had to call in the military in order to prevent people from expressing their disgust with the war? No. This woman was part of a crowd of protesters who was stopped on the lawn of the Pentagon. Why on the lawn of the Pentagon? Because they were fucking storming the building. They wanted to non-violently shut down and occupy the Pentagon building. They were stopped on the lawn because they were essentially committing insurrection. Does this sort of thing happen today? Fuck no. Today, if you're gonna go to a protest, here's how it happens. Protest organizers secure a permit. They check everything out with the government ahead of time to make sure the day that they've picked is okay. Usually the dates that get approved are when Congress is out of session. Then once they've secured their permit, they go about setting up their stages and platforms, on which all sorts of speakers will come to speak about all sorts of tangentially related issues. Everybody stands in the audience waving their signs around and cheering when the speakers say things that they agree with. Then at a predetermined time, everybody goes in marches through the empty streets, escorted by the DC police, who've made special arrangements to create a detour around your parade route so that your little protest doesn't upset traffic too much. It's Machiavellianly brilliant, because the government can give you permission to express yourself in the least effective way possible, while continuing with the policies that you disagree with. In my mind, here's what an effective protest actually looks like. Everybody trains to lobby their congressperson in their local organizations. Then everybody descends to DC for a solid week, finds the congressional offices of their representative, and spends every minute of the next week trying to find their congressperson, meet with them, lobby them, and get a solid promise from them that they'll make legislative action within the month. That might change things. I've actually been part of such an organized effort, and it's not like it's impossible. It's so possible. You just need to do it. The left needs to get its fucking act together and get organized. Move on? What are you gonna do, run another email campaign? We have not only a right, but a duty to self-governance. Now is the time to start working for life, liberty, and pursuit of a less fucked up government. It's up to you.